Welcome to Monster Territory, brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. My goodness, technical difficulties over here. Welcome to the show, everybody. I just said a lot of words, and none of you heard any of it, but now I got the microphone turned on. Thank you for everyone in the chat letting my potato brain know that my microphone was not working. Anyway, let's try that again, shall we? The Red Sox win 9-3. The offense looking great here tonight. 9 runs on the board, another night of 10 hits, improving the record to 47-45. Still a couple of games out of a wild card spot, but this Red Sox team is looking absolutely fantastic. I know it's bad teams over the last few games here, right? The Nationals, we literally ended the dynamic duo of Mike Rizzo and Davey Martinez. My goodness, the Nationals, they're kind of a mess over there. So yeah, I get it. We're playing some bad teams over here, but you got to get the job done against these bad teams. That's just the way you got to do it. You got to show up, and you can't be giving these games away. The Red Sox taking it to the Rockies here tonight in a 2007 World Series rematch. Mike Lowell, World Series MVP, was in the house. I love that. But the Red Sox, like I said, 4th straight win. They've won 6 out of their last 7. Lots of offense here tonight. Roman Anthony, first Fenway Park home run in his career. Sadam Rafaela showing everyone why this guy should have been an all-star. He already showed you enough why he should have been an all-star. How this guy is not going to the all-star game, it blows my mind. Now, we did react to the all-star selections yesterday, but my keyboard, what is with me in technology, right? The microphone not working, the keyboard not working yesterday. My goodness, I'm a mess over here, like the Nationals, for crying out loud. But we were reacting to the picks, the Red Sox, right? Getting the more than deserved all-star selections, right? For guys like Bregman and Chapman, and I'm thinking to myself, after the game, I'm like, hold on a second. Wait a minute, Sadam Rafaela said he was not on that list. It didn't dawn on me until after we ended the show, and I saw Julio Rodriguez getting the vote. Listen, I know people, we're always, every year, this is how it is with the All-Star game, guys getting snubbed. But sorry, there is no reason for, and this is not Draftnik Robbie talking. This is not, Red Sox bias here, but there is no reason why Julio Rodriguez should be going to the All-Star game over Sadam Rafaela, other than the fact that he has been labeled as one of the top stars, the top young stars in Major League Baseball. Listen, he's got some nice eyes, all right? He's a very handsome man. I get it. Major League Baseball, that's the kind of guy they want to market. And of course, Sadam, I think you should be marketing the heck out of this guy. My goodness, Sadam is a handsome man himself. And he's been playing better than Julio Rodriguez this year. The guy has been swinging a hot bat here for how long now? Some of the best defense in all of Major League Baseball, stealing bases, has a better F-WAR than Julio Rodriguez. J-Rod has a slightly better baseball reference WAR, only because of the stolen bases. But when you look at all the offensive categories, Seti is better than J-Rod. He leads him in defense out in center field. There is no reason that Seti should not be at this game. I think it's preposterous. It's atrocious. I don't get it. But back to the game here. Seti already showed you why he should have been there, but then he showed you even more here tonight, staying hot with a home run. Better quality contact. They mentioned this during the postgame over on Nesson, right? You're seeing more line drives as of late. The first half line drive percentage for the Red Sox was at 17.8%. That ranked dead last in Major League Baseball. Now, it's not over the last 7 games. It is up to a 19.3%, so a little bit of an increase there. But, when you're looking at it over a sample size of, the last week or so, that's a decent difference right there. That's over the last 7 games, that ranks 19th in Major League Baseball. Still not way up there, but it is a difference, and you are noticing that contact here. And they're pulling the ball in the air more. On the year, they rank 23rd in pulling the ball in the air, and that at a 16.8%. And over the last 7 games, that's over an 18%. So you're just seeing that better quality contact here with the Red Sox. This is a team that's been hitting the crap out of the ball. Like all year, they rank first in exit velo. But you're just seeing the better quality, right? You could still hit the ball hard. You could fly out, ground out. You want those line drives, man. That's what you want. Jim Rice, he's been talking about that too. You just want solid base hits. It looks like they're finally starting to listen to Jim Rice here, ladies and gentlemen. But a great night for the offense tonight. We'll get into the post-game breakdown in just a second. And Richard Fitz picking up his first career win. Pretty solid night. The deepest he's gone for a while here. That's the best he's looked since coming back from injury. We'll get into Richard Fitz here tonight. And over on the side for the rundown, I have Massa and Bregman. We do have some Masataka Yoshida news. It looks like a return could be imminent. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll talk about something else with Jiren Duran at the end of the show as well. That's all I'm going to say for right now. I don't know how much I can actually say on that. I have a couple of birdies that I trust very much. I got a couple of little things to talk about with Jiren Duran at the end of the show. And I do have Alex Bregman there as well. Now, Bregman, I don't know if he's already talked to the media. I guess Chris Smith of Mass Live, he tweeted out during the game that Bregman, he called for a scrum or something. Let me see if there's any... Hold on. So we got here from Alex Spear. Okay, hold on. All right, we do have an update here from Alex Spear. So I'll get to that in a little bit on Alex Bregman. So you got some news there. And we'll go over the Game 2 preview as well at the end of the show. Everyone, if you can, hit the like button for me. That's all I ask from you. And if you are new, think about subscribing. We reached 4,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. Just for perspective, okay? Over on the main channel, when I first started my channel, my main channel on YouTube, it took 6 months for me to get to 1,000 subscribers. I started this channel, I think, October of 2024. So how many months is that now? 7. So about, 11 months. Well, no, that's not 11 months. What is that? I can't do math in my head. So I can't do math in my head. So that's, what is that? Like 8 months or so. So in that amount of time, we've already gotten to 4,000 subscribers, right? A little bit more time than I had when it took me to get to 1,000 on my main channel, but still a much faster pace for this channel. And hey, it's all because of you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you for supporting here. I do appreciate that very much. But again, hit the like button for me. Subscribe if you're new. We'll get to the post-game breakdown here, but we do have one word from our sponsor. I'll be right back.
Kratz, we talk about HelloFresh a lot, but in the same fam is another option for you if you're looking to go on your little wellness journey or you're very picky in terms of what you're looking for ingredients-wise. You can go Green Chef this summer.
And I can heat and eat because this summer I've got like 3 days where I'm not doing anything. And I'm sure those are going to get scheduled with something. Let's give me something super quick that I can heat up. The whole family's eating healthy and they're full.
Menus change weekly, 80-plus dietitian-approved weekly meal options. Green Chef makes it easy to find those meals to fit your lifestyle, so go check it out. FT fam, there is an exclusive offer. Make this summer your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50territory and use code 50territory to get 50% off your first month, then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50territory at greenchef.com/50territory.
Alrighty, let's get to Richard Fitz first before we get to the offense. Now, like I said, Fitz with a solid night tonight, 5 2/3, 5 hits, 2 earned, 6 Ks. This is the best he's looked since coming back from that pectoral strain. He was looking pretty solid before that, but he was taking his bumps after coming back from that. He got sent back down to the minor leagues. Hasn't really been able to go very deep into games as of late, but looking pretty solid here tonight. Had a good tempo, a good mix of pitches. Went with 5 different pitches here tonight, mostly leading with the slider, and that's a big difference. He went with a 40% usage on the slider tonight, and that's compared to 27% on the year. So he really went with that breaking ball here tonight. He got 8 whiffs on that pitch, 3 strikeouts on that pitch. And the fastball was looking very good. He was locating that fastball very well. Good velo. And the velo was averaging 96.8 miles per hour. Let's just say 97 miles an hour. And on the year, he's been averaging 95.5 miles per hour. Good bump in velo tonight for Richard Fitz. He's looking rested. He's looking healthy. He's looking good. Here's Alex Bregman right now talking during the game. I do have a quote here, so I believe that's what he's saying. But a great night for Richard Fitz, getting a few strikeouts on the slider, a few strikeouts on the fastball as well. Very solid. Now, let's get to the offense here. And it was all about the Roman Empire tonight. I know we got a couple of home runs, right? Seti, this guy's amazing, right? Romy homered later on as well. But this was the Roman Anthony show here tonight. And he is actually my player of the game tonight. He went 3 for 5 with a home run, 2 RBIs. The first player of the game nod for Roman Anthony in his career. You gotta love it. But getting back to it here, the Red Sox once again getting off to a quick start. First 3 innings over the last 7 games. They've scored a total of 25 runs. That's an average of 3.5 runs in the first 3 innings over the last 7 games. They're getting off to hot starts lately. You love to see it. First inning, this was an interesting one. This was one that kind of got people turning their heads a little bit. I thought this was a home run. Nate Eaton with a double off of the ladder on the Green Monster. That was redonkulous. I thought that was a home run. I thought it hit the ledge at first, and no, it hit the, what do you call those? The handles on the ladder. Pretty crazy. Mike Lowell, he was here in attendance tonight. He was on, they were doing the broadcast from the Green Monsters tonight. I thought that was pretty funny. And Wally was just having a good old time there tonight, man. He was all over the place. He was all over the Green Monster tonight. They were all about Wally there tonight. But Mike Lowell, he said he hadn't seen that happen ever, besides BP, right? Very rare. Rob Bradford put out a pretty funny tweet saying, if you hit the ladder, that should just be game over. Like, I can't think of a game, but one of those games where you just do something wacky like that. It just ends the game. Everyone just goes home. Red Sox win. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works. But unfortunately, the Red Sox weren't able to capitalize there. Romy with a strikeout. And then Eaton getting caught stealing at third base. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. It just felt a little too aggressive. I get it, but it's the Rockies. I don't know. They don't have very good pitching over there. I just felt like, you're in scoring position. I don't know. Didn't think it was necessary. Then Roman with a strikeout. But second inning, this is where they came alive here. 3 runs in the second inning. Ref Snyder with a walk. Trevor Story getting on. Had the force out where he got on, but then Ref Snyder was out. Narvaez getting on. McMahon with the throwing error. And then Willier with a double. That tied it up. And then Abraham Toro with a double of his own. That made it 3-1. In the 5th inning, Romy with a triple. And then Roman with his first career Fenway Park home run. That made it 5-1. 7th inning. We'll get to, so Richard Fitz, he did give up a couple of runs along the way. When Roman hit the home run, it was 5-1. But in the 7th inning, you got some big insurance there. Big insurance. Roman Anthony with a base hit, his 3rd hit of the night. Jiren Duran with a base hit. That was actually the hardest hit ball of the night, 111 miles per hour. And he took a huge turn around first base, a massive turn. I thought he was actually going to get thrown out. I'm thinking, oh no, Duran, he's got himself once again in a little bit of a pickle here. And then all of a sudden the camera, it pans towards home plate, and here comes Roman, who was running on the base hit. Just chugging and just safe at home plate. Unbelievable. Great hustle from Roman Anthony, man. I mean, I'm thinking, wow, he actually scored from first base on that. That is insane. Again, I thought Duran was about to get thrown out, and it turned into Duran safe at second and Roman scoring. All my emotions were just going crazy right there. Narvaez had a base hit. Duran scored. That made it 7-3. 8th inning, Seti with his 12th home run. Let's take a look at some of the numbers here with Seti. Let's see what's going on with him. He is now hitting 263 on base, up to a 306, 769 on the OPS. This man is getting ever so close to an 800 OPS. The slugging has been great. A 463 on the slugging for Sadam Rafaela. I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it again. Seti is turning into quite the player before our eyes. You got to love it. That was the 12th home run. And then Romy, a tank shot from Romy Gonzalez. Holy cow, they made it 9-3, but a 454-foot home run that is now tied for the longest home run at Fenway Park this year with Mike Trout. I don't think that ball's even come down yet, for crying out loud. That was 111 miles per hour off the bat. You got to love this strong showing from the Red Sox offense tonight. Now, the bullpen, it got a little murky here tonight. Chris Murphy, he ended up coming in after Richard Fitz in the 6th inning. Now, you have a bit of an interesting play here, and this is where the Red Sox, once again, they're kind of getting themselves into situations where they shoot themselves in the foot, but this was a pretty weird play. Toglia hit a ground ball to third base. Estrada, who was the base runner, it looked like he went out of the base path. It ended up getting called out. Now, what ended up happening was let me make sure I have this right, because I want to make sure I explain it right. It looked like he was called out, and then when Nate Eaton, he ended up throwing it over to first base, or he was going to throw it over to first base, and ended up being where no one ended up getting out, right? Because Nate Eaton, he was thinking to himself, okay, I'm going to go for the tag. Oh, never mind. Forget that. I'm going to throw over to first base. And then he didn't even do that. But Estrada ended up getting called out because they said he was out of the base path. Then the umpires came together. They talked about it, and they said, well, no, he wasn't really out of the base path. He was still pretty much in it. So then Cora came out. He argued it. So ended up being Estrada was safe. Runner ended up scoring. Runner was safe at first. So, it's kind of one of those plays where, just tag the guy. The runner was going to score, but you would have been out of the inning. So I think it's one of those little, just another mental miscue where, just tag the runner. That's all you got to do. And then that led to another run. McMahon had the base hit that made it 5-3. So, can you get by with this against the Rockies? Yeah. No problems there. But when you start going up against good teams, these kind of things, right? We've talked about all the mistakes the Red Sox have made up to this point, the defensive errors, the base running miscues. Those are the kind of plays that can make or break you, especially if you get to the postseason. If the Red Sox get a wild card spot or somehow, some way end up winning the division, for crying out loud, I mean, come postseason, that you're not going to be able to get away with that against these good teams. So they gotta figure that out. Sure, Rockies, yeah, absolutely, whatever. Make all the mistakes you want, you're still going to pound them. Postseason, not so much. Especially, and you're not even just postseason, down the stretch if you're fighting for a wild card spot. Just saying. But 7th inning, Murphy, he came back out. He got Farmer to ground out. Ryan Ritter to fly out. He walked Tyler Freeman. That brought in Garrett Whitlock. He struck out Hunter Goodman, who has been having a good year. So very short outing for Whitlock. Alcala, he ended up closing out this game here tonight. And that was all she wrote here for tonight. But for me, again, yeah, Seti with the big home run there. He stays red hot. Romy, this guy's been amazing. You know what, actually, I wanted to pull up the numbers with Romy Gonzalez. I mean, this guy has very good numbers this year. I mean, if you were to put these numbers, if you showed these numbers to someone, they'd be like, whoa, like this guy is like an MVP candidate. But no, he's doing damage against the lefty hitters, or the lefty pitchers, sorry. He's got great numbers, man. Hitting 326, 923 OPS overall, 4 homers. Romy's been very productive against left-handed pitching, man. You kind of wonder, man, do the Red Sox, I know we've talked about, do they go with an everyday option at first base, right? Do they go out there onto the market, trade deadline? Do they maybe go get someone? Maybe Josh Naylor, whatever it is. But, Toro coming through tonight, Romy, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like this platoon at first base is working, and it just keeps working. I think a lot of people think, well, maybe, it's probably going to stop working at some point. You need to go get an everyday option, but I don't know. These guys are looking great. So now, if someone like Josh Naylor were available, of course I'd be interested, but I think you got to just keep paying attention to what Romy and Toro are doing at first base over the next couple of weeks here. We got Kyle Freeland and Brian Bayo on the mound, and as you can see here, Kyle Freeland's not having himself a great year when you look at the surface numbers. 1-9, a 5.49 ERA. However, I don't want that to deceive you because the advanced metrics do look better with Freeland. Now he has a 3.81 on the FIP. I mean, still, results are results. 5.49 ERA. No, that's not pretty. But with Freeland, while he hasn't been getting a lot of strikeouts, 6.5 per 9, he's not walking a lot of guys. The command's been pretty solid with him, and he's not giving up a lot of homers. Home runs allowed 0.9 per 9. So Kyle Freeland, he's going to attack the zone. He's going to throw strikes, but he's also going to get guys to chase outside of the zone as well, while not walking a lot of guys. So this could be an interesting matchup, but with the way the Red Sox bats have been going, especially these righty bats, Romy Gonzalez just pounding the ball. I mean, right now, I think the righty on lefty matchup is working so well for the Red Sox at this point. So Freeland, sure, he's got a couple of things that are looking all right with him. He's going to get a decent amount of ground balls. I don't know, man. I'm feeling pretty good about this one for the Red Sox tomorrow. And Brian Bayo, he has been looking pretty solid as of late. Did look very good against the Reds his last time out. Let's see if he can keep this going here. See if he can keep it going. Now, when it comes to some experience against these guys, Romy does have a base hit. I believe he has a double against Freeland, so that's a nice sign. Ref Snyder, he's got a double against him as well. It's all you need to see right there. It's all you need to see. So I'm feeling pretty good about this one. Feeling pretty good. Let's get to the Bregman press conference here. Let's get to the Bregman press conference, or the post-game scrum. Not really a press conference. But he said here he is trending toward a return here really quickly, whether it's at the end of this week or the first game after the break. One of those two, but hoping it will be the end of this week. Now, it's going to be interesting. I've said either or. I've said many times on this show, I could see it being before the last series before the break. And I think the Red Sox are really going to weigh that because you got a tough matchup here against the Rays. All right, 4 games set to close out the All-Star, or to close out the first half. I think there's a real chance you'll see him in that series because, hey, it's a tough Rays team, right? You want to be at full strength. But then I could also see the argument where they just stay a little bit more patient. He's going to get a few more days off for the All-Star break. I believe he said also he's not going to be playing, and I expected that fully. But I don't know, man. I think there's an argument either way. I won't be mad either way. If he ends up coming back against the Cubs after the All-Star break, then fine. I care about the health of Bregman in the second half. But then I could also see the argument where, hey, the Rays, they're hanging on to one of these wild card spots here. Right now, the Red Sox, they're 2.5 back behind the Rays. So I could see the argument either way. Let me know in the chat. I'd like to see your opinions. Do you think Bregman should come back before the All-Star break or after the All-Star break? Let me know what you think. Let me make sure there was nothing else that he said. He talked about Roman Anthony and the young stars, says they're going to be stars in the league for a long time. There was one moment during this game tonight where he went in between Roman and Meyer. Yeah, that's just one of those moments, man, where you get that on camera and it really just shows the kind of a leader he is. And I really hope they get this extension done. They got to get this guy signed up long term. clear out this contract with all the opt-outs and whatnot. Just get a straight 5 or 6 year deal. Keep this guy in Boston for the long haul. Absolutely. But we do have an update on Masataka Yoshida. And ladies and gentlemen, a return is imminent. Yoshida likely to debut Wednesday. Man, oh man. Feeling pretty excited. He's been feeling good. He's been swinging well. Everything's looking good. Doesn't even seem like he's really missed all that much time. I mean, the guy has just been a pro's pro hitter for so long. One of the more professional at-bats you're going to get in Major League Baseball. So, to me, I'm thinking, all right, give this guy a few games and he'll be completely fine. But it looks like Yoshida is going to be back with the Red Sox this Wednesday for the final game against the Rockies. Very excited to have this guy back, man. Especially, this past offseason, we were all ready to pack this guy's bags. And how silly we look at this point. I know some people out there, you're going to say, oh, we need to trade Massa. We need to get, no, he's still not a good fit. To me, I am completely okay with Massa coming back right now and giving you even more better at-bats. The Red Sox offense has really turned it around here over the last couple of weeks. And you're just going to add to that more. Going to get a guy that makes a lot of contact. No, he's not going to be a big power guy, but he's going to put the bat on the ball. He's going to work the counts. He's going to draw walks. He's not really going to strike out. I'm completely open to a Masataka Yoshida return. So I'm excited for it. And Bregman, we'll see what ends up happening with that. Now, before I do get to the Jiren Duran little bit that I have, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we got to pay the bills. I'll be right back. Never bet on baseball before? Well, it's easy. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just ride your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes and dingers. Now, here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Let's talk a little Jiren Duran, shall we? And this is perfect. This is perfect because we've just got a question in the chat from Pat. Who are you sitting for Masataka Yoshida? That's a great question. It's a very good question. How are you going to make the room? Right? Because you got 5 guys looking for 4 spots right now. You got Jiren Duran. You got Cedar Rafaela, Wilyer Abreu, Roman Anthony, and now Yoshida. 5 guys. 3 outfield spots, 1 DH spot. How are you going to make the room? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, there's noise right now for Duran. I can't go fully into specifics, right? But there are teams making phone calls. I have been mentioning this over the last couple of days, but I had a couple of things here today where you're starting to see his name really popping up out there. And, it's funny, because there was a moment here tonight when he came up, and you were hearing more people really giving him a bit of an applause. I don't know if anyone noticed that. You're starting to get the sense in the air, like people are kind of throwing stuff out there. I think Jared Kurabus even put something out there. Let me actually pull that up here. Let me get to that really quick. Let me see here. So here's Jared Kurabus. And so someone, I don't know why I can't zoom out, but Kurabus here saying that nothing is imminent, but it's not nothing, right? And that's the sense that I'm getting based off of what I've been told personally. There's a couple of teams that have been mentioned here, over how long we've been talking about a possible Jiren Duran trade. We've had several teams getting listed out there, whether or not it's reports or people speculating, right? The Padres, it seems like they've been involved for a long time now, right? AJ Preller has long had an interest for Jiren Duran. The Phillies have always been brought up as a possible destination. The Mets, they've been brought up as a possible destination. And then there's a dark horse team out there as well. And I'll even say it, right? Don't be surprised if a team like the Twins could get involved. Now, I'm not saying I've heard anything about that necessarily, but you're just mentioning, there's people mentioning teams out there. And I feel like something is starting to bubble a little bit. And based off of what I've been told, it feels like it's getting more and more at this point. Again, just like Jared said, nothing imminent, but I had a couple of different messages today, a couple of different texts saying, hey, hearing some noise, right? Nothing crazy, but just something to keep in mind. And it does line up with Massa coming back, right? I mean, you still got tomorrow. Who knows? Whatever. Even if you have, Massa, at least for the next, whatever, going into the All-Star break, maybe, who knows? Could you see a move by the end of the All-Star break? I don't think that's completely out of the question at all, right? Massa, yeah, he's going to be coming back here Wednesday, but doesn't necessarily mean you have to make a move by then. I mean, they're going to have to make a roster change, right? Or they're going to have to send someone down. I would imagine, maybe like Nate Eaton goes back down or something like that. Who knows, though? Maybe we end up seeing something, right? The teams that I'm looking at for a possible Jiren Duran trade, I just mentioned them a second ago. I'm looking at the Mets. I'm looking at the Phillies. I'm looking at the Twins, right? I'm looking at the Padres. Why am I naming those four teams? Because those teams, I think, have guys that you could send back, right, that the Red Sox would be interested in, right? For example, on the Phillies. No, you're not going to get Andrew Painter. Get that out of your head. But maybe you could do something revolving around McAbel, a couple other guys possibly. I don't know. I mean, would the Phillies even do something like send us Ranger Suarez for the rest of the year? I don't know. You could maybe work something out there. I'm looking at the Mets. And I'm just getting back to this really, really quick here. Jiren Duran, the reason that you're going to be moving Duran is to simply make room, right? To simply make room to get these guys all fitting, right? And just really quick, if you are watching this over on Nesson, I do have to wrap it up right there. Come catch the rest of this over on YouTube on Monster Territory. But Nesson viewers, I'll see you tomorrow. But the reason you're moving Duran is to simply make room. But if you can get something major league ready back in return to help you, then I think that's a big success. But the main goal is to make room, right? And get value back. Now, with the Mets, I'm not necessarily sure that you could get back major league ready talent, but they do have some higher ranked pitching prospects. You got someone maybe like a Jonah Tong or Nolan McLean. Brandon Sproat really rose up the rankings last year, but he struggled this year. But they got some higher ranked pitching. Maybe you could do something there. All right, they are going to be getting guys back off the IL. Sean Manaea is going to come back soon. I don't know. I don't think they would deal away any major league pitching at this point. But I think you could see a scenario like that. I'm looking at the Minnesota Twins. I know that might sound weird because the Twins, they're not looking great, but I wonder if they could end up doing some kind of a shakeup, right? Where they had a lot of injury risk coming into the year. And maybe this could be a way for the Twins to, and then they had Pablo Lopez go down with a shoulder injury. So, then you still got guys like Buxton, Correa, Royce Lewis. Those guys are injury risks. And the one thing with the Twins is that they really could use some more speed. They rank 28th in speed this year. They don't rank very well with stolen bases. I think they're 25th overall in stolen bases. So someone like Duran, I feel like could actually make a lot of sense for the Twins. over the next couple of years, right? So that could be a bit of a shakeup of their core, right? Maybe to try and just get some things going. And they do have some guys that maybe you could work out a deal. Now, Joe Ryan, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, it's trying to get major league ready starting pitching and a guy at a caliber of Joe Ryan, who's in his arbitration years, and he's getting closer to free agent, or he's getting closer to free agency, but still has a couple more years of control. That's expensive. So if you were to get someone like Joe Ryan, you would have to give more with Duran. Let's be honest about that. But could you, and this is where we're going to get a little funky, could you do something where maybe you can get back someone like Jiren Duran? They got two electric arms at the back end of the bullpen, Duran and Griffin Jax. Could you maybe do a package with one of those guys at the center? And then you get maybe some prospects with it as well. And we've been hearing Aroldis Chapman's name coming up as of late. Passon's been mentioning him. I think Nightingale might have mentioned him. I think going blank here. Jim Bowden, take with a grain of salt. He mentioned him as well. You're just hearing people mentioning Chapman a lot. So could you see a scenario where the Red Sox move Chapman somewhere else, get back value for him, just like when the Royals, they moved him a couple of years ago to get back Cole Reagans. That ended up working out. Maybe do a move like that, and then for Duran, you get back another closer with some prospects with it. I don't know. Maybe that's why I wonder if the Twins could be a bit of a dark horse. I don't know. Again, I'll mention the Phillies. You know, I think they could use a bit of an upgrade over Brandon Marsh at this point. You're not going to get Painter back, you know. But then the Padres, that's the last team I'll mention. They've been attached to Duran here for a while. I think you would have to give up either Leo DeVries or Ethan Salas. And I feel like Salas would be more likely. DeVries, I mean, that guy's he's a top 5 prospect in the game. I don't think you give that guy up. So could you do something around Salas where he's a very talented young catcher who, you know, you don't have to really rush. You know, he can go spend a couple of years in the minors, and then whatever happens with Carlos Narvaez down the road, you know, I don't know. I like Carlos Narvaez. I'm just pointing out that Salas does have a lot of talent. He just needs to get the bat going. But when you look at the Red Sox organization, the one thing they thrive in is developing position players and their bats. So could Ethan Salas maybe fit better with the Red Sox organization to help him get his bat going? Maybe you can get a couple other pieces attached. Maybe like Cash Mayfield. Maybe you can get someone like Jeremiah Estrada in there that can come back and help your bullpen now. You know, there's ideas out there. There's possibilities. And I think you could go a bunch of different ways. You know, I'll even throw the Dodgers out there. I haven't heard anything about the Dodgers, but I could see a fit with them. Michael Conforto hasn't really done anything this year. So, I don't know. Maybe do like a 3-way deal where you send Conforto somewhere else. Duran, he goes to the Dodgers. Maybe the Red Sox, you know, they can get back some pitching in return. The Dodgers got prospects. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot of possibilities out there. And we're hearing a lot of noise here over the last couple of days. And with the timing of Yoshida coming back here in a couple of days, I don't know. Just think things seem to be bubbling and maybe could be coming to the surface here in the near future. Maybe sooner rather than later. We're just going to have to wait and see. But everybody, I'm going to wrap it up right there. We'll keep our eyes on the Duran rumors. Massa's coming back in a couple. Bregman, let's see when he comes back. I'll be okay if he comes back before the All-Star break, after. I'm okay with either one. But good win tonight for the Red Sox. Offense keeps on going here. They're staying hot. Richard Fitz looking good. But everybody, I'm going to wrap it up there tonight. If you can, hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get to 5K. Can we get to 5K by the trade deadline? I think that's a possibility, maybe. We'll have to just wait and see. Everybody, go have yourself a good rest of your night, and I'll see you tomorrow.